While it is a small group right now, it's a group that is all on the same page. Talked a lot about, what's made us a strong team, our culture, our identity, our principles. Just reviewed those, got back to basics, had a good, healthy, long discussion, and had some good film sessions with the group. And to a man, everyone understands. And as the leader of the group, I put my hand up first and take the responsibility and the blame. But we know that, a half of a season does not define this group. Again, we've been together for a while. We trust each other. We know who's here, who's not here. We also know that the end of the Charlotte game in the second half in particular was not acceptable. So we'll learn from it. We'll get better from it. We'll move on now to a new test. Have had a good week of training. A lot of work's been put in. And now it needs to come out on the field against the Montreal team that is very good with the ball, very dangerous team at home, and has scored a bunch of goals. So have to be on our A game to limit them. But again, a week to get better and look forward, not backwards.
Thanks, Jim. Jonathan Tannenwald.
Thanks, Nico. Hi, Jim. Happy belated birthday, by the way.
Thanks, buddy.
You said after the Charlotte game, regarding Oliver Semler, you said we still believe in Oliver. You wanted to give him kind of a break physically and mentally. Now you've done that. You've had a few further days to evaluate things. What have you seen?
Yeah, Oliver, again, is still a very strong young goalkeeper who's just gone a level up, right? So he was a winner in college. He stepped up to USL, became one of the best players there. We had hoped to get him 10 to 12 games maximum here at the first team level and have that growth and process be one that is step by step. Instead, unfairly to Oliver, we threw him into the deep end in a group, again, that isn't at its strongest and isn't at the most stable. Just like when I talk about Jonathan throwing a homegrown in there at the right moment, if they don't have a good support system, it becomes very difficult. I didn't want to put CJ Olney into a position where it's down a couple goals and it's almost just chaos and not soccer and not us at the end of the game where he's not protected in his debut. But the situation sometimes in this sport doesn't wait for the perfect moment, right? Things happen. Injuries happen to Andre. And now Oliver's called upon to make more plays than is probably fair. So again, still a good, young, strong goalkeeper that's going to get better and better. I thought Rick stepped in a tough spot for an 18-year-old as well. We went with him to try to give us a spark. He did his job. The first goal that we concede, nothing he can do about, right? Second one, there's always something you can do about at the near post. So he'll learn from it too. So these are two good young goalkeepers, Jonathan, that are going to be here. And we believe in them. We still have a decision to make for Montreal. And I'm not going to give you the answer as to who that is, as you already know before you even ask the question.
Fair enough, but I will ask this. How late do you wait to make that decision? Do you make it Saturday morning? Do you make it today, tomorrow, before you get on the plane, et cetera?
Yeah, we'll discuss things today. Today's one of our more, a lighter day for us. As we implement more tactics tomorrow and with film, we'll make that decision. It'll be one where one guy's going to be happy, one guy's going to be upset, but they both need to be ready for whatever they're called upon to do. That's kind of where we're at on that. It won't be a game day decision. We certainly want to have them, that back line really train with the starter. So we have some ideas. Again, two good young goalkeepers, but we have a decision to make.
Thanks, Jim.
Joe Tanzi.
Hey, Jim, how are you?
Hi, Joe.
For some of the guys you were missing, Daniel,
yeah,
would assume is going to be back soon. Jose in Venezuela got a huge win last night. What's the status of Daniel, and is there an update on Andre as well?
Yeah, I'll go in order. Daniel will be back today if everything goes right with his flight at 6:45. He'll land in Newark and then be ready for training tomorrow. Credit to Daniel for really being aggressive too and helping us out with his federation and really pushing to get back to help his team. Which he shook my hand when he left for the Euros, and I wished him luck. And he you could feel he was upset to leave us in the moment that we were in because he didn't want to. So he's a guy that I think represents the Union badge as well as anybody. Loves Philadelphia, wants to win here, and showed that now by getting back as quick as possible. We'll still have to determine, Joe, with the jet lag, with all the travel, with the emotion, with the load that he's had, maybe not playing as many minutes as he wants. What's he ready for? But he'll certainly play in the game. That is for sure. I'm not going to have Danny Gostog fly back to then have him watch a soccer game in Montreal. That's for sure. So starter, reserve will still determine that. Jose, again, shows last night that he can go to a level that is as high as anyone that we have on our entire franchise. Funny to see him be the peacemaker at the end of the game. That was something I did get a chuckle out of when he's separating and breaking up the fights between a highly intense, heated, great game to watch game against Mexico. But he played the peacemaker role and also dominated on the field. So has set his team up with 6+ points, and we wish them the best moving forward unless they play the USA. But yeah, happy for him. And he did a great job. Last one was there another
Dre.
question on Dre? Dre was out on the field today for the first time. And I saw him, he did have gloves on, which was a good first step. So not close yet to starting, but that first step of getting back on the grass, putting the cleats on, being with the guys a little bit more emotionally and mentally for the guys, I think is a good thing.
And to the point about Jose, obviously having a great game last night, do you think that the pressure of being in a Copa America, representing his national team, it's obviously a big stage for him. Do you think that may have played into some of the poor performances? Maybe that being a burden on him going into the tournament?
I don't think so. I don't think so. He's a guy when the whistle blows, he's gonna give you everything. Are there going to be sometimes some mistakes? Are there going to be turnovers just like for every player? Absolutely. But I also recognize, and you guys see it in the Copa America, the passion that these players have to represent their country, from the opening national anthems to seeing them sing and in some cases scream. You see the faces as it goes by, just how much it means to represent the country. Again, I think we have it in the United States, no doubt. But is there a level in South America? I don't want to say it means more, but man, you can feel the energy in the stadium from the fans and the passion that they all have, that there's a little something extra in these games. That is for sure. And I think Jose has that. I think his team in Venezuela has kind of an underdog fighter spirit and mentality that I think we have here in Philadelphia. Haven't shown it this year as much as I'd like. But as the leader, again, we need to get back to that. So long-winded way of saying Jose is a great player. Sometimes great players have dips in their form. That can happen and it's never just one thing. It's always a variety of reasons, Joe. Sometimes it's as simple as the players around them are a little bit off as well. So it's a team sport in that regard. You need all 11. And Jose, we still know, is an incredible player and in person.
Jonathan?
Thanks, Nico. Jim, to the point that you just made about the emotional side of Daniel coming back here, not playing much, but also having to live through the roller coaster that Hungary went through yesterday, trying to find out whether they were going to advance or not. Obviously, he's a stand-up guy, but how do you manage the emotions of that and channel it into the way you want it to go?
Well, that's not easy at all. Because again, like I said, it means so much to these players to represent their national team from every country, for sure. But think of Daniels. I mean, he literally had the high of scoring that. They scored that goal against Scotland in the plus 10 minutes, in that phase of the game. Then the next day, Italy bails them out and knocks off Croatia with literally the last kick of the game. I had some thoughts going through my mind when that happened as well, because I knew the ramifications of whether Danny would be back or not. And then you look at yesterday's drama, and you have the unlikelihood of Georgia upsetting Portugal, which I did predict, by the way, because I knew Portugal was guaranteed already through and finishing top in the group. Everybody thought it was going to be the Czech Republic that would do us a favor, but the way that the game broke, the emotions that I'm sure Danny went through and his team having to having to sit and watch now when you don't control your own destiny is really, really hard. And you, as pro athletes, you never want to put yourself in that situation. So I'm sure the hungry team who has so many great players, were probably kicking themselves because they didn't take care of it when they had the opportunity in the earlier games, and then they were dependent on a couple of results to go their way. And when that happens, this sport can be really, really cruel. So tough for them. Probably benefit for the Union for sure. Selfishly, to get him back, he's one of our best players, and great to have around the team. So we'll get him back as quick as possible. But yeah, I can't imagine, Jonathan, how hard that is emotionally to go through the highs and lows of almost going through to the round of 16.
Jillian?
Thanks, Nico. Hi, Jim.
Hi.
I'm curious as to your thoughts on Damion's performance in Copa America and his playing at the 6.
Yeah. So, last night I think he has to come out because he has a yellow card and makes could have been a red card, to be honest. But Damion is a guy who is very versatile. You don't just get to wear the captain's armband if you're not a leader of your group. So the coach obviously has trust in him to do that. Like I said, they had a tough first half where, a couple harsh calls go against them. I just talked about it with Andre. I thought the second half, Jamaica really played at a high level and made it a hard game for Ecuador. But yeah, Damion's certainly a guy that can play multiple positions, which helps. His versatility certainly has the physicality and the bite. Gives you a real weapon on set pieces, attacking and defending. So, we're happy and love having Damion here in Philadelphia, but he's got a job to do right now with Jamaica, and he'll continue to do that well for his national team. But yeah, certainly a guy that can play both positions for sure.
Jose Nunez?
Thank you, Nico. Jim, good afternoon. Quick
Hi.
question. I don't know that actually we didn't hear about him today, but Alejandro Bedoya, how is he progressing in terms of obviously recovering from that? I think it was a hamstring, right?
Yeah, quad. Yeah.
How's he recovering? And obviously you're about to get into another busy stretch with a Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday,
Yeah.
and then probably even preparing, hopefully, to release 2 and maybe even 3 players to go to Paris.
Yeah, so that part will be challenging for sure. What we will see and what we do see right now is Ali is getting closer. Obviously, him and Andre were instrumental in some of the meetings that we had in behind closed doors with the players about getting back to our identity and who we are as a club and as a team. Really good in the video sessions, and now is out training. Not cleared yet for full integration with the group and full contact. But I think next week, if everything goes well, when we get back from Montreal, he'll be back in full training, which is huge, Jose, as we look towards, the quick turnaround Chicago and Red Bull, who will be on, from the schedule gods, will be on full rest going into that game.
And then I know he featured yesterday for the Union too, but sort of any words on Holden Trent, who's obviously coming off of injury. And as I think about it with Cincinnati's situation with Matt Miazga, has the club decided anything with Isaiah in terms of season-ending injury, getting some relief in that way with a roster or some sort of help that way at all?
Yeah, look, with the unique situation where Rick comes in and gets a start, we thought it was important to have him in full training with us. So now the next opportunity is for Holden to get a game and get minutes with Union 2. Get him some live action, which he hasn't had, see how it feels, how the hand responds to it. And yeah, he's back healthy and back fully training. We still have some flexibility within our roster and spots you can, through MLS's rules, move to different places, I'll just say. And we have to find out the best situation for us as we look forward to a transfer window coming up and trying to improve the team.
Thank you. Safe travels.
Thanks.
And final question, I'll go to Charles Bowen.
Hey Jim, Charles Brown from MLS Soccer. I'll start by saying I don't love asking questions about other teams and other players, but I'm writing a big feature on Denis Bouanga, and my editor said, "Look, Jim's a smart guy. Let's get his take on this." So
No problem.
So I hope you'll bear with me. But I know you've played him in some high leverage games and big games, and I'm just looking for insight, especially as a former defender, because I mean for me he's up there with the best 1v1 guys in the league, and I wonder how on earth, both individually and as a group, you prepare to deal with a threat like that.
Yeah, so these players are number one, the hardest to find in the world. They're also, you know, they give belief to the entire team, which is so powerful. Because now when you talk about a Bouanga, he's the type of player that when LAFC and Stevie Cherundolo, who's an incredible coach, know that they're not at their sharpest on the day, there's a guy out there that can win them the game by himself. And he is, I think, the definition of that. You know, as an old guy, my brain goes to comps naturally, and an old MLS player, and you think of Jaime Moreno, who's still, for me, when you talk about 1v1, these guys tend to be faster with the ball at their feet than they are without it, which is, for those that don't know, a really incredible skill. And he gets stronger as the game gets longer, like a Landon Donovan, where Landon ran at you in the 93rd minute as fast as he did in the 10th. And that's what the difference was when he played against average, crappy MLS defenders like myself. You know what I mean? He could go at that maximum when I was exhausted at the end of the game, mentally, physically, because I didn't have the engine that they did, and the relentlessness to go at you. You know, get stopped 9 times, but they're coming on the 10th, and that's terrifying for defenders. So he's a winner. You know, from all accounts, I have close friends that are in that locker room. When you talk to Stevie Cherundolo, Ante, Oka Nikolov, all close guys, and they speak highly of him, not just on the field, but off the field as a teammate. Yeah, the ultimate comparison I can give is he's a guy that is as good as any player I've seen in our league. He wins games for them individually, you know, with his play, with the special qualities that he has. And he's a nightmare to prepare for as a coach, because it's not a one-person job. It makes you shift your whole team towards his side. And that naturally, they have other quality players too, opens things up for the rest of their group. So that relentlessness, though, when you go to LAFC and he's coming at you over and over again, it's terrifying. And, you know, if you even, God, somehow I always wind up talking about MLS Cup. But anyway, even on the day when now Mbaizo is one of the few guys who has a day where he actually does great to shut him down, or I shouldn't say shut him down, limit him in an MLS Cup final. He still finds a way to influence the game and make plays to make his team better. So incredible player, you know, a top player in our league, and one that I think, because our league is getting so much better, Charles, I think can play anywhere in the world. There's only so good you can be. I've seen a lot of players. I've seen young, I've seen old, I've seen middle-aged, I've seen the top of the top. And there's only so good you can be. And he is an example of there's incredible players in this league that can play anywhere in the world.
Thank you so much, Jim. And I have no doubt that you were a beep test champion yourself. So I think you're
I
saying
had heart. I didn't have athleticism. I'll just put it that way.